everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In a previous video lecture, we have studied the generation of FM using direct and indirect method. In today's video lecture, we will discuss about the sampling process. Then after that, we will see what is mean by pulse modulation. In that, we will study different types of pulse modulation, that is PAM, pulse amplitude modulation. Second is PWM, that is pulse width modulation, and third, pulse position modulation. Okay, so let us start with the first point, that is sampling process. As we know that in the pulse modulation systems, we are going to deal with the discrete time signals. So we know that basically there are two types of signal. The one is continuous time signal and second is discrete type signal. So in continuous time signal, the signal which is having continuous time, continuous amplitude with respect to time is called as continuous time signal, and the signal which is having discrete amplitude with discrete time is called discrete time signals. So here the waveform of continuous and discrete time signals are shown in this figure. So let us see sampling process. The sampling process is the process of converting a continuous time signal to an equivalent discrete time signal. So here the continuous time signal is x of t as shown in this figure. This is x of t signal, and on x-axis time parameter is there. So here the input is applied to the multiplier. So this is continuous time signal, that is x of t, which is applied to this multiplier, and the other input to the multiplier is a train of pulses. So here this signal is called as sampling function, and it is denoted by s of t. This is sampling signal s of t. So at the output of the multiplier, we get the sampled version of x of t, and the sampled signal is discrete signal. This is sampled signal. Okay, so this is the continuous time signal, that is the signal which is having continuous amplitude with respect to this time. Next, the sampling signal s of t. This s of t is a periodic train of pulses of unit amplitude and a period of ts. So here we can see this is the time period ts as shown in this figure. The pulses are very narrow and having a width dt. So the time ts is called as the sampling time, and the sampling frequency is given by fs is equal to 1 upon ts. As we know that the frequency is the reciprocal of time period, or we can say time is the reciprocal of frequency. So here the output of multiplier is the product of x of t and s of t, and it is known as the sampled version of x of t. So it can be seen from the waveforms that the sampled signal is equal to the input signal x of t at the instant of sampling. So the sampled signal represents the original continuous signal in the discrete form. As we increase the number of samples, the representation becomes better and better. So as we increase the number of sample, the period between two consecutive sample, that is this ts, is reduced, and the sampling frequency fs is increases. Thus for the better representation, the sampling frequency fs should be as high as possible. Okay, so here let us see the statement of sampling theorem. The statement of the sampling theorem is a continuous time signal x of t can be completely represented in its sample form and recovered back from the sampled form if the sampling frequency is fs is greater than or equal to twice of fm. So this is very important equation, that is fs is the sampling frequency and fm is the maximum frequency. So for the sampling process, your sampling frequency, that is fs, should be greater than or equal to twice of fm, where this fm is the maximum frequency of the continuous signal x of t. And the sampling theorem puts the limits on the minimum value of the sampling frequency fs, which is defined as the Nyquist rate. So let us see next point is the Nyquist rate. So basically it is the minimum sampling rate which is required to represent the continuous time signal x of t faithfully. So in its sampled form. So according to the sampling theorem, the Nyquist rate Fs is greater than or equal to twice of Fm, but according to the Nyquist rate, it is Fs is equal to twice of Fm. Means if the sampling frequency Fs is less than the Nyquist rate, then a distortion is occur which is called as aliasing. So this aliasing is introduced in the spectrum of the sampled signal. So here the Nyquist criteria is Fs minimum is equal to twice of Fm, or we can write Ts max is equal to 1 upon Fs minimum, which is equal to 1 upon 2 pi Fm second. So in short, it means that the signal must be sampled at least twice during each cycle of its highest frequency component. Okay, so for the sampling theorem, your sampling frequency should be greater than or equal to twice of Fm, and for Nyquist rate, your sampling frequency Fs minimum is equal to twice of Fm. So these are very important equations. Next point is the pulse amplitude modulation. We know that in pulse modulation there are three types. The first is pulse amplitude modulation. Second is the pulse width modulation, that is PWM, and third is pulse position modulation, that is PPM. Let us see one by one. The first is pulse amplitude modulation. In the PM system, the amplitude of the pulse carrier is changed in proportion with the instantaneous amplitude of the modulating signal. So the carrier is in the form of train of narrow pulses, which can be shown in this figure. So if we compare the PM system with the sampling process, then you will find that these two processes are identical. So the PM signal is then sent by either wire or cable, or it is used to modulate a carrier. So this is the general diagram, block diagram of this PM signal. So here the continuous modulating signal x of t is present, which is passed through this low pass filter, and the low pass filter will band limit this signal to Fm. That means all the frequency component higher than the frequency Fm are removed. So the band limiting is necessary to avoid the aliasing effect in the sampling process. Then next is the pulse train generator, which is used to generate a pulse train at a frequency Fs such that Fs should be greater than or equal to twice of Fm. Okay, so thus the Nyquist criteria is satisfied here. So the uniform sampling takes place in the multiplier block. This is the multiplier block. So this multiplier block generates the PM signal as shown in this figure. So the samples are placed Ts seconds away from each other. So the information in the modulating signal is contained in the amplitude variations of the pulse carrier. Therefore, this system is similar to the AM system. Okay, so here we can see the waveform of this natural PM. This is the modulating signal, and second is the carrier signal, and here carrier signal is present in the form of train of pulses. So here in third step what happened? Here the pulse amplitude modulation takes place, that is the amplitude of the pulse carrier is changed in proportion with the instantaneous amplitude of this modulating signal. Okay, so again there are two types of PM. The first is a double polarity PM and second is single polarity PM. The double polarity PM we can see in this figure. This is double polarity PM. Means what? The positive and negative part is there, and in a single polarity PM a fixed DC level is added to the continuous signal x of t, and due to this the modulated pulses are always positive. So we can see here the single polarity PM signal. This is the modulating signal, and here in the next step the carrier signals, that is train of pulses, is there, and in third step the PM takes place, that is pulse amplitude modulation, and here instead of positive and negative value, only positive part is present for the single polarity PM signal. If we see the advantages and disadvantages of PM, then there are not many advantages of PM system except for the simplicity of generation and detection, but there are many disadvantages. The first is the amplitude of PM signal changes according to the amplitude of modulating signal. Therefore, like AM, here the effect of additive noise is maximum in PM. Okay, so the added noise cannot be removed easily. Second is the transmission bandwidth required for a PM signal is too large as compared to the maximum frequency content in X of t. And third, the disadvantage is due to the changes in amplitude of PM pulses, the transmitted power is not constant. Okay, so next we will see the next type of pulse modulation is pulse width modulation. The other type of pulse analog modulation is the pulse width modulation, and in PWM the width of the modulated pulses varies in proportion with the amplitude of modulating signal. So the waveform for PWM is as shown in this figure. So as seen from the waveform, the amplitude and frequency of the PWM wave remains constant, only the width will change. That is why the information is contained in the width variation. This is similar to the FM. So as the noise is normally additive noise, it changes the amplitude of the PWM signal. So at the receiver, it is possible to remove these unwanted amplitude variations very easily by means of limiter circuit. So as the information is contained in the width variation, it is unaffected by the amplitude variations which is introduced by the noise. So thus the PWM system is more immune to noise than the PAM signal. Okay, so here we can see this is the carrier pulses, carrier sampling pulses are there, then modulating signal is there, and in PWM, that is pulse width modulation, we can change the width of the signal. Then next point is generation of PWM signal. So the block diagram of PWM signal can be used for the generation of PWM as well as PPM. So here we can use a sawtooth generator which is used to generate the sawtooth signal of frequency Fs. Therefore, the sawtooth signal in this case is a sampling signal and it is applied to the inverting terminal of this comparator. So this comparator which is having two terminal, the first is inverting terminal and this is second is the non-inverting terminal. So here we have to apply that sawtooth generator to the inverting terminal of comparator. Then the modulating signal X of t is applied to the non-inverting terminal of the same comparator. Okay, then what happened? Then the comparator output will remain high as long as the instantaneous amplitude of X of t is higher than that of the ramp signal. This gives rise to the PWM signal at the comparator output which can be shown in this figure. Okay, which can be shown in this figure. So note that the leading edges of the PWM waveform coincide with the falling edges of the ramp signal. So here we can see this is the sawtooth waveform. Okay, and here the PWM waveform coincide with the falling edges of this ramp signal. Thus the leading edges of PWM signal are always generated at fixed time instant. However, the occurrence of its trailing edges will be dependent on the instantaneous amplitude of this X of t. So therefore, this PWM signal is said to be trail edge modulated PWM. So here we can see the PWM output, which is the output of comparator, and in third case we can see the PPM output, that is we can change the position of these pulses, that is PPM, pulse position modulation. Okay, so here we can use also the timer IC 555 for the generation of PWM. Okay, then next point is So there are some advantages of PWM. The first is less effect of noise, that is a very good noise immunity. Second is the synchronization between the transmitter and receiver is not essential for the PWM. Then there are some disadvantages of PWM also. The first is in order to avoid any waveform distortion, the bandwidth required for the PWM communication is large as compared to the bandwidth of PM. And second is due to the variable pulses width, the pulses have variable power contents, so the transmission must be powerful enough to handle the maximum width pulse, though the average power transmitted can be as low as 50% of the maximum power. Okay. Then next point is the pulse position modulation. In PPM, the pulse position modulation, the amplitude and width of the pulses is kept constant, but the position of each pulse is varied in accordance with the amplitude of sampled values of the modulating signal. So this position of the pulses is changed with respect to the position of reference pulses. So the PPM pulses can be derived from the PWM pulses, which can be shown in this figure. Note that with increase in the modulating voltage, the PPM pulses shift further with respect to reference. So the vertical dotted lines drawn are treated as a reference lines to measure the shift in position of PPM pulses. So these are the vertical dotted lines, okay, which can be used for the reference purpose. So the PPM pulses mark 1, 2 and 3. So go away from their respective reference lines. That means this is corresponding to the increase in the modulating signal amplitude. Then as the modulating voltage decreases, the PPM pulses 4, 5, 6, 7 come progressively close to their respective reference lines. This is the positive part and this is the negative half cycle. For positive half cycle, we can see here, this is the reference line, and for positive half cycle, here 1, 2, 3, 4 pulses are present, and for negative half cycle, here the PPM pulses for 4, 5, 6, 7 come progressively closer to their respective reference lines. So these are the reference lines, and again for the positive half cycle, here the pulses are formed away from that reference lines. Okay, so the PPM pulses are constant amplitude and constant duration pulses. So if we want to generate the PPM signal, then we have to first generate the PWM signal, then after that we can generate the PPM. Okay, so there are certain advantages of PPM. The first is due to constant amplitude of PPM pulses, the information is not contained in the amplitude, hence the noise added to PPM signal does not distort the information. Thus, it has good noise immunity. Okay, then second advantage is what? It is possible to reconstruct the PPM signal from the noise contaminated PPM signal. This is also possible in PWM but not possible in PAM signal. Then third is the due to the constant amplitude of pulses, here the transmitted power always remains constant. It does not change as it is used to in PWM. Okay, then there are certain disadvantages. The first disadvantage is that here the position of the PPM pulses is varied with respect to the reference pulses, and a transmitter has to send synchronizing pulses to operate the timing circuits in the receiver. So without them the demodulation won't be possible to achieve. And second is the large bandwidth is required to ensure the. So this is all about our today's session. I hope you will like and enjoy. We will stop here with motivational quote. Today's motivational quote for you is, the best project you will ever work on is you. Thank you for watching my videos. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.